In this video, I'm going to be covering all the recent updates with Dimo and explain why I think that Dimo is going to be one of the leading DePIN projects in the space. And not just because of the number of vehicles that are connecting to the network, but because of the utility and the amount of revenue that I think this project is going to be generating. And looking at its token price right now and market cap sitting at $36 million, I personally think that this project is criminally undervalued. And I think that's largely in part because there is still a major misconception about what this project's doing. But I will be clearing all that up in this video, and I'll explain why I have personally built a fleet of 250 vehicles. But before I get started, I have to remind you, nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own research, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. First off, I want to hit on some major milestones that Dimo just hit. They've now surpassed 110,000 vehicles connected to the network, and just a couple weeks ago, they announced a direct integration with Tesla. Now they have their sights set on 1 million vehicles connected by the end of 2025. And I have to say, based on their growth rate, I do think that is achievable, especially because they just announced they're launching a new hardware option. It has a lot more capabilities and it's going to be a fraction of the price of their current top-end model. But I will be releasing a video here in the next week or two that's going to cover that hardware device, so be on the lookout for that. But in other news, the team just put their money where their mouth is and did something I haven't seen any other DePIN projects do to this point, which is they extended out their token unlock schedule for both employees and investors. And in a recent interview I did with co-founder Alex Rawitz, this is what he had to say about it.
We are on a multi-decade journey here at Dimo. Whenever you look at fundamentally changing an industry, you have to realize it's going to be a multi-decade endeavor. And extending our lockups was actually just a small piece of that multi-decade journey. We'll probably look at that. Like me personally, I would love to even go further and extend further. I just think that we have so much to build and so much to accomplish over the next few years that to even think about stopping now or making the journey easier now is actually a disservice to everyone involved. And I'm such a firm believer in the long-term vision of what we're doing that we're just committed in that regard.
Now, they certainly didn't have to do this, but I think that by the end of this video, once you understand what this project is truly doing and what the vision of the team is, you'll understand why they're so committed. And that's where I want to clarify a few items based on some of the comments I'm seeing and some of the conversations I'm having with other people in the community. Because I think there's this big misconception still that Dimo is just taking your telematics data and selling it in bulk. And I can tell you personally, if that was what this project was all about, I certainly would not have been grinding the last 2 years building out my fleet. But first off, regarding privacy, your data is only used when you decide to use your data. So if you decide to connect to an app within the Dimo ecosystem, you have to give permission for that app to utilize your data. Dimo is not just willy-nilly taking your data. So again, you have to authorize the use of your data within the Dimo ecosystem. Secondly, while there certainly would be some value in selling that telematics data in bulk, that would severely limit the potential of this project. And that's because while the telematics data is certainly valuable, the true value lies in actually utilizing that data and leveraging in different ways and building a relationship with it, not the sale of the raw data itself. And that's exactly what Dimo is doing. Of course, the first part is giving vehicle owners access to their data and allowing them to take ownership of it. But more importantly is what they're focused on right now, which is creating a segue for vehicle owners to actually use that data and leverage it in different ways to unlock the true value in that data. And they're doing it by creating an open system or an app store for telematics data specifically. And this concept from a high level view is nothing new. I mean, if you look at Apple, for example, 20% of their operating revenue comes from their app store. Now, obviously that's on a whole different scale, but the underlying concept of building an app store that's specific to telematics data that allows you as the vehicle owner to leverage your data through applications is the same. And Dimo has made some major strides in this department. In that just a few weeks ago, they released their developer launchpad, making it incredibly easy for developers to build applications in their ecosystem. And since releasing that just a few weeks ago, they've actually doubled the amount of developers that are working within the Dimo ecosystem, and we're just getting started. But I do want to highlight some of the applications that are being launched today, starting with Carvis. Now, Carvis is essentially ChatGPT for your vehicle, or an AI mechanic, if you will. And through the app, you can ask diagnostic info questions, and data is actually pulled from your vehicle, and the app is used as an AI assistant or a more robust owner's manual. And it can also be used as a second opinion. Let's say you go to the mechanic and they give you a recommendation and it seems a little sketchy. Well, you can go to Carvis and double check that recommendation. The next application I want to highlight is DFleet. Essentially, this is a fleet management tool that has real-time vehicle tracking, geofencing with alerting, vehicle state management, designated fleet locations, and trip reporting. And it's at a fraction of the cost of the other fleet management tools that are available today. The next is usage-based insurance, which I would argue has been a pretty broken system to this point, because the way it works today is your insurance company will send you one of their devices to plug into your vehicle, and then they may or may not give you a discount on your insurance. The problem here is your insurance company has all the leverage because they know that you have to get a plan through them. But Dimo put the leverage and the power back in the hands of the vehicle owner, because now, if you so choose to use this application, you can shop your data to different insurance companies and they have to compete with each other for your business. The next is badges. Gamification has become a big part of our lives, whether it's your loyalty program with your favorite retailer or competing with others in your leaderboards and your Peloton app. Gamification has proven to be successful in driving both engagement and participation, and that is what Dimo is doing with badges, because users can now create badges for hitting different milestones in their day-to-day driving, and you can earn unique NFTs or badges, and these can make you eligible to receive Dimo rewards. Now, looking forward, keep in mind you're going to have an on-chain digital ID of your vehicle with all of your vehicle's history. And this opens up the door for things like a better used car marketplace experience or an enhanced rideshare application to disrupt the current duopoly of Uber and Lyft, who, let's be honest, have been price gouging customers and underpaying drivers for some time now, or allow developers to build alternatives for short-term car rentals to go head-to-head with the likes of Turo. This ecosystem is going to be a developer's dream because the telematics market is already massive, but is expected to see exponential growth moving forward. But to this point, it's been very siloed because developers have really only been able to build applications specific to different vehicle manufacturers. With Dimo, they now have an open environment that allows them to connect with vehicle owners of all different makes and models and in a standardized way. So I do truly believe like we're just scratching the surface and there's endless potential here. Now, getting back to the revenue generation that I led off with, let's do some simple math. Let's say that Dimo does hit 1 million vehicles connected to the network, which I think it's a matter of when, not if. But let's say that each one of those vehicles on average connects to 3 applications. And obviously some vehicle owners are going to use a lot more and some will use less, but just using 3 as an average. And each one of those applications generates just $1 per month per vehicle. That's $36 million a year in revenue. And I think that actually could be conservative. And that would catapult Dimo to being the largest revenue producing project in the DePIN space. Now, keep in mind, again, we're sitting at a $34 million market cap. Like, what are we even doing here? I mean, this is why I have built out a fleet of 250 vehicles, and I've actually been buying the token on the dips we've seen recently above and beyond what I'm earning from my fleet. Now, obviously, these are my personal opinions. This is not financial advice, but I am curious what your thoughts are. So please let me know in the comments below. And with that said, as always, I appreciate your viewership. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Signing off, this is Bradley Meyer with the DePIN Connection.